Hi, I'm Shannon, and I want to talk today about 8 tips to avoid financial ruin from the elder law perspective. And today, I sadly have to tell you about 2 cases that we had come into our office in the last 3 months. One involved a beautiful woman who has given away $2 million to a scammer in Africa. And the second involves a gentleman who also has given away $7 million to a scammer also in Africa. So the most important tip that I can give to you to avoid financial ruin for yourself and also for your loved ones is to expect and protect yourself against exploitation. And that means understanding that your mind, no matter how brilliant you've been your whole life and successful, that your mind can become exploitable. And what that means is that it may not understand the difference between the truth and a lie. And we get this thinning of the cortical insula, and it can be devastating. It basically allows your thinking to become attached or delusional to a particular story, and you may be subject to this grooming where you might have a propensity towards a love interest or towards a particular investment scheme that may not be reasonable, but your brain is no longer able to tell you that this is a bad idea. So I would just, when you're doing your future planning, just make sure that you're thinking about that issue. What can you do to protect yourself from financial exploitation? And one of the things that we've started doing in our office with our trust-based planning is using something called a Ulysses clause. And the Ulysses clause in trust-based planning basically provides a safety net for your successor trustees to step in when you start to make these crazy decisions about your finances. So let's say you come in and you want to withdraw a certain amount of money to send off overseas. What you might have done in advance is said, look, if I want to spend over, $20,000 of my money, I would like this person to review the transaction and make sure that I'm not being subjected to undue influence or to a scam or exploitation. And then you always need to have some other, reviewer, like a trust protector or the court, who can then review that transaction and determine whether or not this is in fact exploitation, or whether, you're making good business decisions based on a non-exploitable brain. So that's the first thing, is to predict in advance that you're going to be exploited, and then to take steps such as the Ulysses clause to protect yourself. We also use something called a pre-need consent against exploitation that allows you to designate someone in advance to freeze your assets down if you start giving them away. This has been a very effective tool for us to use in Florida. There may be something similar in your state as well. Okay, that's the first thing, exploitation, avoid it. Second thing, of course, is doing an estate plan, making sure that you have either a trust-based plan, which I recommend if you really want to make sure that your assets aren't exploited and that they are easily protected from, problematic events that can happen at the time of death. A trust-based plan may be the best option for you. We also always want to keep in the back of our mind this idea of estate taxes and preventing estate taxes, which can be done with trust-based planning and using what's called your, I like to call it your coupon from the IRS. Make sure you use it, make sure your spouse uses it. So even if those values of estate tax amounts change, you have the benefit of using those coupons from the IRS by doing trust-based planning. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is a durable power of attorney. Make sure you have a good durable power of attorney. If you get in a car accident, you need your assets to be managed by somebody. You've already said in advance who that would be, and they can step in immediately and start to manage your stuff without having to go through a guardianship process, which of course is horrifying. Okay, looks like we're gonna need a part 2 on this one, so I'm gonna break here to get to our second 4 ways to avoid financial ruin.